All right, fuckers. Let's cut the crap and dive headfirst into this shitstorm called Rainbow.
Buckle up, because we're going deep into their Wikipedia page.
And trust me, it's wilder than a fucking tornado in a trailer park. Lineup changes galore, power struggles that make a dictator blush, and music that'll melt your goddamn face off.
Ritchie Blackmore, the guitarist, the mastermind, the total control freak.
Yeah, this dude fired people left and right, like mid-recording, even on tour.
Total dick move.
Talk about a toxic workplace, right? But hey, maybe that chaos is what brewed their crazy sound.
This guy bailed on Deep Purple, one of the biggest fucking rock bands at the time.
Yeah, because they wouldn't let him record some song he liked.
Diva much.
So he snatches up some dudes from this American band, Elf, and boom, Rainbow explodes onto the scene.
And their first singer, Ronnie James Dio, the metal god himself.
The dude's voice could shatter glass, no joke. But he was also goddamn songwriting genius. Co-wrote the music and all the lyrics for those early Rainbow albums. And their vibe. Swords, sorcery, the whole fantasy shebang.
Imagine Tolkien on a bad acid trip. Dragons, dungeons, demons, the whole 9 yards.
It was heavy as fuck, but also kind of poetic. Not your typical hard rock bullshit.
But even with Dio's talent, Blackmore couldn't keep his hands out of the cookie jar, fired everyone from Elf after the first album.
Seriously, what a prick.
Then he brings in Cozy Powell on drums, a total legend.
This guy hit those drums like he was trying to kill them, and he was a total prankster, too. Even messed with Blackmore.
Talk about balls of steel.
Like Blackmore thrived on that tension, that constant fucking friction.
Pushed everyone to their limits, and you can hear it in their music, those early albums. Raw, powerful, a little unhinged, and totally addictive.
And the hits kept rolling. Stargazer, Man on the Silver Mountain, Kill the King, pure hard rock gold.
And who could forget Long Live Rock and Roll? That song's a fucking anthem.
Every dive bar, every stadium, it's been played everywhere.
But then Dio finally said, enough of this shit. Smartest move he ever made.
Walked right out. Couldn't blame him.
Yeah, losing Dio was a big hit for Rainbow, but Dio, he went on to front Black Sabbath, became a goddamn metal icon.
So Blackmore needs a new frontman. Who does he pick? Graham Bonnet. Known for his pop stuff.
Talk about a curveball, right?
What a weird fucking choice.
But it worked. Rainbow Sound got more commercial, radio-friendly, and bam, they hit the big time with Since You've Been Gone.
That song was everywhere. Still a banger, gotta admit.
Funny thing is, it's a cover, written by Russ Ballard, but Rainbow made it their own.
But of course, Blackmore still wasn't happy. Fired Bonnet after one album.
What an asshole.
So who's next? Jolynn Turner, another vocalist with a smoother style.
This lineup kept the hits coming. Difficult to Cure, Straight Between the Eyes. They were all over MTV.
Yeah, I Surrender, Stone Cold. Rainbow became a full-blown stadium rock band.
But Blackmore's classical influences started creeping back in.
The title track of Difficult to Cure, that's based on Beethoven's Ninth Symphony.
Imagine that, headbanging to Beethoven. Crazy, right?
Blackmore, man, he never let go of that classical shit. He snuck it into even his heaviest tunes. The dude was a musical mad scientist.
And that's what made Rainbow unique. Heavy metal with a touch of, well, elegance.
Strange mix, but it worked. So they're on top of the world, selling out arenas. What does Blackmore do? He pulls the plug in '84, goes back to Deep Purple.
The master of self-sabotage, I swear.
This guy couldn't stay in one place, even if it meant ditching a successful band.
Always chasing the next creative high, even if it meant burning everything down.
But Rainbow's story doesn't end there, right?
Hell no. In the 90s, he resurrected Rainbow. New lineup, heavier sound.
They even released an album, Stranger in Us All.
Not quite the same magic as the early stuff, but...
There's one song, Ariel, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's a hidden gem. A little taste of that Dio-era magic.
Looked like Blackmore still had it, even if the band was a little lost at that point.
So what happens next? Does Blackmore finally chill the fuck out?
Buckle up, because this is where shit gets really weird.
Blackmore goes full-on medieval. I'm talking Renaissance fairs, lutes, the whole shebang.
What the actual fuck? We gotta hear more about this, but I guess that'll have to wait for part 2.
Yeah, so Blackmore dumps Rainbow again. Everyone's probably like, what the hell is this guy gonna do now?
Right. He just blew up his biggest band again.
Well, hold on to your asses, because he goes full-blown medieval, Renaissance fairs, the whole 9 yards.
Wait, so he traded his screaming guitar for a fucking lute?
Yeah.
Is this dude for real?
Not exactly a lute, but close. He forms this new band, Blackmore's Night, and their music is like Renaissance folk with a shot of rock and roll.
So, like, if Led Zeppelin got shit-faced on meat at a Renaissance fair.
Exactly. Picture Blackmore in tights, a feathered cap, jamming on a hurdy-gurdy.
I can't even.
You're not far off.
Yeah.
He went all in on the medieval aesthetic, but the music's actually pretty good. Atmospheric, melodic, with his wife, Candace Knight, on vocals.
Candace Knight?
Yeah, she's got this ethereal voice that fits the whole Renaissance vibe perfectly.
So Blackmore finds love, chills out, and ditches the rock star life for Renaissance fairs. Talk about a midlife crisis.
Seems like he finally found something that actually makes him happy. They put out a ton of albums, still tour. It's crazy.
Must be tough to make a living playing Renaissance music, though.
Yeah, those fairs don't exactly pay millions. But anyway, what about those diehard Rainbow fans? Did they just jump ship when Blackmore went full-on jester?
Good question.
Some did, for sure, but Blackmore's Night has a dedicated following.
I guess some Rainbow fans had a secret soft spot for Renaissance shit all along.
You said they even play some Rainbow songs at their shows. It gotta be weird hearing Man on the Silver Mountain with a lute and flute.
Talk about a musical mindfuck.
Right. It's a weird mix, but it kind of works. Like hearing Stairway to Heaven on a ukulele. Hilarious, but kind of cool, too.
Okay, so we've covered Blackmore's journey from rock god to Renaissance dude. But what about the other guys in Rainbow? They weren't exactly nobodies.
You're right. Rainbow was a revolving door of talent. We talked about Dio, Cozy Powell, but there were so many other amazing musicians.
Yeah, let's give those guys some love. What about Tony Carey, the keyboardist on Rising? Dude was a monster on the keys.
Oh, yeah. Carey brought this prog rock complexity to Rainbow.
Listen to Stargazer. It's practically a mini rock opera.
And Carey's keyboards are a huge part of that epic, majestic sound.
Then there was Jimmy Bain, the bassist on the first two albums.
Solid rock bassist, bluesy feel, kept the music grounded.
And Bob Daisley, who replaced Bain on Long Live Rock and Roll.
Total beast. Brought a heavy groove, melodic bass lines. No wonder Ozzy Osbourne snagged him later.
And speaking of talent, we got to mention Roger Glover, the bassist who joined after Dio left.
Another Deep Purple alum. He helped shape their more commercial sound.
And Glover was a multi-talented dude. Musician, songwriter, producer, the whole package.
Don't forget Don Airey, the keyboardist who took over for Tony Carey.
The dude could shred. His solos were insane.
Yeah, he played with practically every big hard rock and metal band out there, a true keyboard warrior.
And Joe Lynn Turner, the vocalist during their MTV days. Perfect voice for those radio hits.
Turner had the range, the smooth delivery, and he co-wrote some of their biggest songs. Street of Dreams, Can't Happen Here.
Basically, Rainbow was a breeding ground for some of the best musicians in rock history.
It's true. Even with the constant lineup changes, Blackmore always found amazing players who could bring his crazy ideas to life.
And we can't forget the drummers. Cozy Powell, Bobby Rondinelli, Chuck Berge, all beasts behind the kit.
Yeah, they had to be machines to keep up with Blackmore. It's a miracle they didn't all explode from the intensity.
So even though it was a total soap opera behind the scenes, Rainbow always delivered when it came to the music.
All publicity is good publicity, right?
Exactly. They made some of the most iconic hard rock and metal anthems of all time.
Their influence is still huge today.
Okay, but what about after Blackmore's Renaissance phase? Did Rainbow just fade away?
Not entirely. There were a few attempts to bring it back, but nothing really stuck until 2015.
Wait, Rainbow came back? Seriously?
Yep, Blackmore decided to give it another shot. Brand new lineup, featuring Ronnie Romero on vocals.
So after all those years, Blackmore finally found a vocalist who could channel Dio.
Romero's a fantastic singer, powerful voice, perfect for Rainbow's classic stuff.
Did they record any new material?
They released a couple of new songs, but mostly focused on playing live shows.
Reliving the glory days for the old school fans.
Exactly. So yeah, Rainbow's still out there, keeping the legacy alive.
It's kind of heartwarming, actually.
It's pretty amazing. Blackmore's music still connects with people all over the world.
It's proof that a good riff and a killer vocal melody never die.
Exactly. It's a wild story, man. From Deep Purple to Rainbow to Renaissance fairs, Blackmore's left his mark on music.
He's like a musical chameleon. Guitar god, control freak, and surprisingly, a romantic at heart.
Cody?
All right, I think we've had enough of Rainbow for now. Time to move on to something less, well, chaotic. Anything but Rainbow, really. All right, so let's dig into this Blackmore's Night thing. It's like a total 180 from what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Was this some side project for Blackmore, or did he really go full-on Renaissance geek?
Nah, this wasn't just a hobby for Ritchie. He went deep into this medieval shit.
Seriously.
Blackmore's Night became his main gig for years. Traded those sold-out arenas for Renaissance festivals and flowing gowns.
So no more trashing guitars on stage, no pyrotechnics, just lutes and harps, It's hard to picture Blackmore, the king of hard rock, playing green sleeves for a bunch of dudes in chainmail.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, right? But you can still hear his signature guitar style just woven into this acoustic orchestral sound.
So like Jethro Tull jamming with a medieval bard at a Renaissance festival.
Exactly. And his wife, Candace Knight, she's the lead singer, right?
Yeah, what's her voice like? Is she belting out power ballads, or is it more like ethereal folk singing?
Candace has this beautiful, almost otherworldly voice, perfect for those folky melodies.
So Blackmore finds love, chills out, and swaps his rock and roll life for Renaissance fairs. What a weird fucking trip.
Seems like he finally found something that makes him happy, though. They've got a ton of albums, still tour.
Must be a pretty niche market, right?
Yeah, Renaissance music isn't exactly mainstream. But what about all those die-hard Rainbow fans? What did they think when Blackmore went full-on medieval?
Yeah, did they just give up and go home?
Some probably did, but Blackmore's Night has a pretty dedicated following. It's like a whole subculture of people who love Renaissance music, A&D, hard rock.
It's kind of cool, actually.
And get this, they still play some Rainbow songs at their shows.
So you could hear Man on the Silver Mountain played on a lute.
Yeah, it's a strange mix, but it somehow works.
Talk about a musical mindfuck.
Right, it's like a musical time warp, blending genres and eras. I guess it shows that even a rebellious rock star like Blackmore can appreciate something beautiful and traditional.
So after all the crazy lineup changes, the drama, the musical twists and turns, Blackmore finds peace with Blackmore's Night.
It's a wild story, man. He could have just kept playing the same old Rainbow hits until he retired, but he chose to challenge himself and try something totally different. You gotta respect that.
It's inspiring in a way. Shows you can always reinvent yourself no matter how old you are or what you've done.
Absolutely. Blackmore proves that creativity has no limits. You can go from playing sold-out stadiums to Renaissance fairs and still find an audience. It's all about following your passion.
Well, there you have it. The wild and unpredictable tale of Ritchie Blackmore, the guitar god who went from hard rock to Renaissance music. It's been a hell of a ride exploring the world of Rainbow and Blackmore's Night.
Yeah, who knew one guy could have such a crazy, diverse musical career?
And on that note, I think we've had enough of Rainbow for one day. Thanks for tuning in to our deep dive into this insane band.
It's been a blast dissecting the madness that is Ritchie Blackmore. Until next time, keep rocking, keep exploring, and don't be afraid to try something new, even if it means playing a lute at a Renaissance fair.